Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the June session of the Town of Poughkeepsie Zoning Board of Appeals. Would you please rise for the pledge?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, welcome on a rainy evening. We're expecting another one of our members to appear. In the meantime, another regular member is unable to attend, so our alternate, Phyllis, will be a regular voting member during the entire meeting. For those of you that are new to the procedures of the zoning board, the meeting is divided into two halves. During the first half, we hold a series of public hearings on each of the applications that we've received, and we'll take those in the order that they're on the agenda, and a copy of the agenda is available in the tray right up here at the end of the desk. For each of the public hearings, we'll ask the applicant to come forward, have a seat, state your name into the microphone for the record, and to be sworn in. All testimony before the zoning board has to be sworn testimony, and we will do that for each person that appears. We will then ask the applicant to give us a brief overview of what the application is about. We, of course, have got all the applications. We've looked through them. All the members of the planning board or a zoning board have done a site visit to see for themselves, but we'd like you to just to kind of refresh our memory on what the issues are. At that point, each member of the board will have an opportunity to ask questions, to get more information about the application. And when we've finished, the floor will be open to any member from the public that wishes to speak on that application, but on that application only. And people that want to address the ZBA on an application must also be sworn in. When we've finished with all of the public hearings, we'll go back to the top of the agenda for the deliberation phase. And during this part of the meeting, there's no further input from the public, but you're certainly welcome to stay and listen to the deliberations and to the votes. If you don't want to stay for the entire meeting, you can leave after you've had your public hearing, and you can call the zoning board in the morning to learn the decision. Okay, with all of those preliminaries taken care of, we'll turn to the agenda, where item number 1 is Aldi Incorporated, 1830 South Road.
Hopefully it won't fall down. Everyone see that, or?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, if you just state your name.
My name is Timothy Shegg with APD Engineering and Architecture.
I believe Mr. Shea was sworn in last month.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so you're still under oath. Okay, fine.
Very good.
All right.
Good evening, members of the board. As you may recall, I did come before the board last month to present the proposed Aldi's zoning variance for the proposed Aldi's signage. The issue that came up last month was that unfortunately we hadn't completed the 239M review with the county, and so we were asked to come back today.
Well, actually, is this a moment to read it into the record?
Sure.
Okay. This is from the Dutchess County Department of Planning. Has reviewed the subject referral within the framework of general municipal law. Action. The applicant is seeking an area variance to permit a wall sign of 120.7 square feet where a wall sign no larger than 100 square feet is permitted. The property is located within the shopping center business BSC district. Comment. New York State directs that when a variance is being considered, that only the minimum amount of variance be granted. In this case, the applicant has not provided justification as to why a sign of legal dimension would not be visible to passers-by. Recommendation. The department recommends that the board rely on its own study of the facts in the case with due consideration to the above comments. Signed, Janet Tissier, Junior Planner, for Owen Rafter, the Commissioner. Okay, so that's their comments.
Okay. Thank you. So just a quick recap of what we're proposing. The existing Aldi store today has 3 signs on the front of it. It has the Aldi logo sign, it has an entrance sign, and it has a food market sign. Aldi's proposing to replace all 3 of those signs with a single, roughly 10-foot by 12-foot signage, which would measure approximately 120.7 square feet in size. Within the existing shopping center, there's several stores that have kind of oversized signs, if you will. There's existing Kohl's, Babies R Us, and the DXL Men's Warehouse, which all, from visual aspects, seem all have larger signs even than what we're proposing. So we do not feel that necessarily would be out of character for that plaza to have this store. I think if you look at the signage here, it doesn't appear that the sign is that massive on the store itself. It's a very large front and kind of proportional to scale. Seems to marry well with what we're proposing.
Okay. Christine, any questions?
Were you going to bring a comparison, something for us to see between what the 100 square feet would look like versus the 120 that you're proposing?
I did not. We weren't asked to, so.
Okay, I thought we just. Okay.
We asked one applicant,
It wasn't.
I don't remember which applicant we asked. I know we asked one, but I don't remember if it was this applicant.
I don't think it was.
I think it was this one. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
That's all. Thank you.
Paul, any questions?
Not for me, right?
Welcome. Art?
No, they're reducing the clutter on the front of the store, so I'm okay.
Okay. I'm, Tony?
I'm just wondering when we're gonna put an apostrophe T after babies aren't us anymore. But, no, for you, I have no questions at all.
James?
Question.
Phyllis?
I'm just curious, how is it that you decided it needed to be this size as opposed to 100 square feet?
So Aldi doesn't have a sign that's 100 square foot per se.
Oh.
They have several different sizes that they use for different stores. The next size down from this is a 9-foot by 7-foot sign, so it's roughly 72 square feet. So when they put that sign on the front of it, it looks very small in size.
Okay, so this is a stock sign, so to speak.
So to speak, yes, yeah.
Okay, I have no further questions.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address the application of Aldi Incorporated at 1830 South Road? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
Moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item number 2, Beacon Residential, located at 297 Violet Avenue. Okay, and your name, please.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Steve Burns. I represent Burns Engineering Services, who is representing Beacon Residential this evening.
Okay.
You swear or affirm the testimony you provide tonight is true and complete to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Very well.
Okay, so if you could, I know you've submitted this before, and we're kind of repeating it, but one of the variances has to do with the number of square feet per unit.
Yes.
So there are 4 units and it's about a 0.4 something acre parcel?
Yeah, we have, I forget what the actual acres of the parcel is.
I think it's according to parcel access, I think it's 0.44, something like that.
Yeah, that was about right.
Yeah, anyway, I
19,000 and change.
did the arithmetic to make sure that what's here is correct, okay. So, I'd like you to explain why you need the greater density.
Okay, the reason for the greater density is, the project actually started with a rezoning of the property. The property is originally in the R20 zoning district, I believe. It was rezoned as a multifamily project. When the applicant purchased the property, it had a rundown house on it that the applicant agreed to take down and, clean it up. And he, as part of that, they designed a building and associated parking for that building, and the 4-unit. That's where the 4-unit count came into play. They got the associated variances that they needed for that. At that time, they went back to the planning board where it was actually sent back to the zoning board for further variances for the parking lot setbacks.
Right.
And also impervious coverage. The site is actually, the neighborhood that the site is in is actually very conducive to something of similar nature. To the north of this property, that square right there is a 3 or 4 unit multifamily. That's a parking lot. This is a Schmeling Glass, a commercial property, and wraps around the back over here. There's a mobile home park over to the further behind Schmeling Glass, and then on the other side is New York State DOT for a lot of that area. And if you drive that area of Violet Avenue, there's actually a lot of multifamily there.
With your magic pointer there, the other variances for some of the setbacks of the parking area. Okay, so there's one.
Right here is 15.6 feet, or 0.5 feet, excuse me, 15 foot 6 inches. This is 5 feet right here. This is actually reserve overflow parking.
Okay.
And then that's 4 feet to the property line there. There's a 6-foot stockade fence along this property line, and I believe that we propose a stockade fence along with some evergreens to screen along the western property.
Okay. Good. All right. The site plans that were sent to us had been reduced a little bit, so it made it a little hard to read and figure out exactly. But okay, good. Thank you. Okay, Christine, any questions?
No questions.
Paul?
No questions.
Art?
No questions.
Okay, Tony?
No questions.
James?
No questions.
Phyllis?
No questions.
Okay.
I do have a question, I lied.
Yeah, okay.
Do we have anything from any of the neighbors? Either
No,
way?
not,
Okay, that's
No.
it. I'm good. Thank
not
you.
done further. Okay, so is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address the application Beacon Residential at 297 Violet Avenue? Okay, you're hearing none. Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Item number 3, Mary Vallow, 18 Meadow Drive. Okay, good
Hello,
evening.
hi, good evening. My name is Mary Vallow.
You swear or affirm the testimony provided tonight is true and complete to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
Very well.
Okay, so remind us why you're here.
Yes, I have applied for a variance for a 12 by 24 prefabricated garage. I'm replacing a 12 by 12 shed that had an existing variance.
Okay. Do you know approximately when the 12 by 12 shed was put up?
It was there when I moved in, 21 years ago.
Close enough. Okay. Okay. A long time before the
A
current
long time ago,
form
so
of the
it
zoning code.
definitely
Yep.
needs
Okay.
replacing.
Okay. Okay, Christine?
No questions.
Paul?
It's going in approximately the same spot.
Exact same spot.
Very well.
Art?
No questions.
No? I don't know. You sent a picture of it. Looks good.
Yeah, looks good.
Yeah. Tony?
No questions.
James?
No questions.
Phyllis?
No questions.
All right, and in the audience, wish to speak on the application of Mary Vallow at 18 Meadow Drive. Okay, seeing none, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
Moved?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Item number 4, Ready Coffee, 1816-1840 South Road. Good evening.
Good evening.
And your name is?
Ryan Wiley, and I'm with Baxter Building Corporation.
Okay.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony provided tonight is true and complete to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Very well.
Okay, just for the record, the county has responded to this saying it's a matter of local concern, so there's no issues from them.
Okay.
Okay,
So we're here to apply for a 1-foot variance. We discovered at the conclusion of construction that the dumpster enclosure had exceeded the variance by 8 inches. So we determined that this was a survey error, and the as-built sketch with the triangulations had determined this need. So we're here to clear the record.
okay. Christine?
No questions.
Paul?
Would it be very difficult to move it?
You know, we tried. We tried to throw a lasso around it and pull it. Didn't work.
That's all.
Art?
No, no problem.
Okay, let me just note for the record that the side yard in question is from an internal lot line that is invisible
Right.
on site.
Yeah.
Okay. Tony?
No questions.
James?
No question.
Phyllis?
No questions.
Okay. Does anyone have any comments on the Ready Coffee application? Seeing none, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
No move.
Thank you.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Item number 5, Elizabeth and John McCabe, 10 Oak Bend Road.
I'm not both of them. Caitlin McCabe, their daughter. I'm here to represent them.
Okay.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony provided tonight is true and complete to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Very well.
Okay, so what?
They
are
would
you-
like to replace a pre-existing fence, and they would like it to be 6 feet tall.
Okay,
It's been there for many, many years.
okay. Christine, any questions?
No questions. You sent a nice picture of the one that they've selected. It's got the lattice like on the top.
Yes.
That's all. No, no questions.
Okay, Paul?
Nope.
Art?
Will you be putting a lattice back on top to stop the deer from jumping over this one too?
Say that again?
The lattice work on the top, are they gonna put that back on? That was to
No.
keep- That was to keep the deer out, right?
That section was for the deer to go out, but I believe what they're buying is going to
Tall
serve
enough.
that purpose.
Good.
Okay, so how, the one that they're installing, how tall would that be?
It would be 6 feet.
6 feet?
The variance is because where it's located, it needed to be 3.5 feet.
Yeah.
And that's not tall enough at all to keep the deer out.
Right, but the existing fence When we were out there, we thought it was more than 6 feet.
The existing,
With the lattice on top it is.
Yeah.
with the lattice on top, it is, yes.
Okay,
So that lattice is not going to be on top of the new one.
okay, so the new one is
It's-
actually going to be a little bit shorter.
It's going to be a little shorter, yes.
Than the existing. Okay, great. Tony,
No questions.
James,
No questions.
you were, James, you were the one that measured the height of the. Okay. Phyllis?
No questions. Thank you.
Okay, is anyone from the audience wish to speak on the application of the McCabe's at 10 South Bend Road?
Oak Bend,
Oak Bend, South Bend, yeah, that's a different state. Yeah.
Indiana.
A little bit
Yeah,
different, yes.
okay. All right, well, I don't see anybody here. So there a motion to close the public hearing?
So move.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item number 6, Benito Garcia, 34 Phyllis Road. Okay. I guess I'd have both of you just state your name into the record.
Benito Garcia.
Mary Garcia.
Do you each swear or affirm the testimony provided tonight is true and complete to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Yes.
Very well.
Okay, so what's the project that brings you here?
We would like to apply for a variance for .4 to put a full front deck in front of the house to replace the existing one that's much shorter now.
Okay. Wait, so the variance is for, let's see, the end of the deck is going to be 13 feet 6, or what? 13 feet 6 inches from the side lot line?
Yes.
Right, and the code calls for 20. Okay.
Yes.
All right, I just wanted to clarify the numbers. Christine?
No questions.
Paul?
No.
Art?
No, fits in with the rest of the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Same thing, no problem.
Okay. So the deck you're proposing will go across the full
Front of the
width of the
house.
house,
Yes.
but not the addition that's
No.
on the, I guess, the left side as you
Yes.
face it? Okay, just the front of, okay. And it will be no closer to the property line than the house now is?
It's actually shorter.
Oh, okay. Tony?
No questions.
James?
No questions, man.
Phyllis?
No questions.
Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address the application at 34 Phyllis Road? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Recusal? Closed. Item number, oh, thank you.
Thank you.
You're done.
Sorry.
Okay, Brian Ricks, 25 Horizon Hill Drive.
Yes, hello. My name is Brian Ricks.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony provided tonight is going to be true and complete to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, I
Very
do.
well.
Okay, so tell us about it.
Okay, so what I'm asking for is just a 3-foot variance, building a new deck. Again, kind of the same thing as the last person, going right to the house, at the end of the house right there. So it's 17 feet away from the property line from our neighbors. I guess maybe I should have sent this to you guys in earlier, but I did get a letter from my neighbors that they were okay with it too. I don't know if that matters.
Okay, yeah, why don't you just give it to us and, it'll be part of the record. No, that's great, thank you. Okay. And this is from the folks that live at 23 Horizon Hill. So
Yep.
that would be the,
So looking at the
That's
house
closest
to the
to-
left, yep, so that would be within the 20 feet of them.
yeah, okay, all right. Okay, Christine,
No questions.
Paul,
How long has the pool been there?
The pool has been there since before we bought the house, though. I think they got the variance there in I think it was the 70s or 80s, 90s, somewhere like that. I know there's been a pool there for a while. But I know when I went to the zoning board, they did have a variance for the pool.
Okay, that's all.
Yep.
okay, Art,
No questions.
and this is replacing the existing.
We're replacing existing desk, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And it's got to be there because it connects the house and the pool.
Right.
Okay. Tony?
No questions.
James?
No questions.
Phyllis?
No questions.
Anyone in the audience wish to address 25 Horizon Hill Drive? Okay, we've already heard from one of the neighbors. Okay. Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. Item number 8, Troy and Corrine Campbell, 1021 Dutchess Turnpike.
Good evening, I'm Troy Campbell.
I'm Corinne Campbell.
Do you each swear or affirm the testimony provided tonight is true and complete to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Very well.
Okay, and your project involves,
We're asking for a variance on replacing 6-foot fencing that's been there forever with 6-foot fencing. It's on the corner of Dutchess Turnpike and Hornbeck, but further down the road, past the house, past the driveway, past the sheds, and connected to the sheds to the end of the property. One of the main reasons why the 6-foot fence is more important than 3.5 is just for security. We have, it's kind of ironic that cars will slow down when they go past our garage. They'll slow down, so the fencing kind of, instead of living in a fishbowl, it does give us our privacy. There's a lot of traffic on Hornbeck, and so that's one of the main reasons.
okay. Christine?
What type of fence are you replacing it with?
We're replacing it with white PVC. We've already had some work done where we had a permit through Adams on part of it, and now we're trying to replace all of it so it looks the same and it enhances the property.
Okay, that's all.
Similar to what's on the inside of the lot? The other side of the parking
it's a little
driveway?
confusing because, I know it says front, we say backyard or side yard, and it says front yard, even though it's all the way down on Hornbeck.
Right.
The front kind of, I would think would be the front of the house, but it's a little confusing on that aspect, but it would be all the same as before.
Okay, that's all.
Okay, Art?
No questions.
Okay, I think just for the record, note that you're a corner lot, which in our code means that there are 2 front yards.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Although your address and physically the front of the house is Dutchess
Correct.
Turnpike.
Yeah.
Okay. Tony?
No questions.
James?
So you are staying within the existing footprint of the old fence?
We're replacing the old fence.
Yeah, exactly the same
Exactly the
spot.
same, but with PVC.
No questions.
Okay, and that was a 6-foot fence?
Yes.
I think so, yeah, okay. Phyllis?
I have no questions.
Anyone from the audience wish to address the application at 1021 Dutchess Turnpike? I don't see anyone, so is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you.
you, folks. Item number 9, Barbara and Patrick Adams, 49 Overlook Road. Good evening.
Good evening. Barb Adams.
Pat Adams. Do you each swear or affirm the testimony provided tonight is true and complete to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
Yes, I do. Very well.
Okay, and what brings you here?
Well, we would like to put a shed, a storage shed along our driveway with a variance to the code that says we're not allowed to put structures in the front yard. It is a 500-plus foot driveway, so it would not be visible from the road at all. It would be tucked into a tree line.
Okay. When we were out there, we weren't quite sure where it is, but there are a few trees that seem to be, as you're driving up to the left of the road, and it sort of in there somewhere?
Exactly, yes.
Okay.
There is a small 7x7, what we call our bike shed there, that would replace that.
Oh, okay. Christine?
No questions.
Paul?
No questions.
Art?
I don't know, it's gonna be pretty obvious up where it is, isn't it? People driving by are gonna see it. No questions. You're way back off the road.
We're way back.
Nobody sees anything.
Correct,
Yeah.
sir.
No,
Yeah, okay.
no problems.
Tony?
No questions.
James?
No questions.
And Phyllis?
No questions.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Anyone from the audience wish to address 49 Overlook Road? There's no one. Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, recusal? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. As is noted on the revised agenda, item number 10, which is Verizon Wireless for an antenna at 15 Channingville Road, and this is property that's owned by the New Hamburg Fire Department. At their request, they've asked that this be adjourned to the next meeting, so that will be on July 8th, 2019. Is there anyone in the audience that came to this meeting to address number 10, the Verizon application? Well, there's no one, so.
Mr. Chair, technically you need to open and adjourn the meeting because it's a public hearing notice.
Okay, all right, so the hearing on Verizon Wireless 15 Channingville Road is hereby opened. There is no one from the public that wishes to speak, so we will adjourn the public hearing to July 8th. So I move we adjourn item number 10 to July 8th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. For items number 11, 12, 13, and 14, these are all brought to us by the Mobile Exxon on behalf of filling gasoline stations located at 3480 North Road. This would be across the street from Marist College and in front, more or less in front of the Home Depot. The other is at 2605 South Road, and that one is located pretty much across from Marshall's. The third station is 2646 South Road, and this is on Route 9, right next to what used to be the Dutchess Country Club. And the fourth location is 2063 New Hackensack Road, and this is the station that's at the corner of Route 376 and Spackenkill Road. The applications are all substantially similar. We got a request at the earlier today from a representative from ExxonMobil asking that this be adjourned to our July meeting. So the hearing on items number 11 through 14 is hereby opened. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address all or any of the 4 applications? There's no one that wishes to. So I move that items 11 through 14 from the Mobile Corporation be adjourned to our July 8th meeting.
Second.
If there's no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so those items are adjourned. All right, that completes the public hearings. So
Break? Need a break?
I'm okay. I think we're ready. Well, I think we're rolling. We're rolling here. Okay. Item number 1, Aldi Incorporated, 1830 South Road. This is a variance to allow the installation of a wall sign of 120.7 square feet where 100 square feet is allowed. This is an unlisted action, but the applicant has submitted an EAF short form to the planning board. And so I move that for purposes of the environmental review of item number 1, the ZBA declares itself lead agency.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I further move that based on the information submitted by the applicant in the EAF short form, the ZBA hereby finds that the proposed action will have no significant impact on the environment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, so on the variance, anybody have any problems with that? I think,
I think it looks going to look cleaner, like I said.
okay.
A little nicer.
All right, so let me propose as findings the following. The board finds that the proposed action will have no undesirable change produced in the character of the neighborhood and no detriment to any nearby properties. The board notes that the proposal will in fact involve fewer signs, one rather than three. The proposed sign is only slightly larger than what the code allows. The sign will be put up on a very large facade. Actually, it's one of the larger facades in that shopping center. And it's in fact smaller than many of the existing signs. So there will be certainly that will not have an undesirable impact. The board also notes that there's a very large parking area that is, there's over 300 feet to Route 9. And so a slightly larger sign appears justified under these circumstances. The board finds that the benefit sought by the applicant cannot be achieved in any other way than putting up a wall sign. The only issue is how large the sign is. The board finds that the variance is not substantial, particularly when compared with the size of the building and the other signage in that shopping center. The board finds that the proposed sign will have no inverse impact on the physical or environmental conditions. And finally, the board finds that the difficulty is self-created in the sense that the applicant changed the sign, but this doesn't preclude the granting of the variance. So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Recusals? Okay. All right, so on the, and as we noted, the county said this was a local concern, and they have some comments, but there's no voting restrictions here. So, Christine, do you want to make the motion?
Sure. I move that the board approve the request for an area variance set forth in item number 1. This decision is based on a review of the application, testimony of the applicant, testimony offered in the public hearing, and results of site visits by board members. In approving this variance, the board adopts the findings as set forth by the chair. So moved.
Okay, motion to approve the application from Aldi's made and seconded. There's no further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Recusals? Okay, done. All right. Item 2, Beacon Residential, 297 Violet Avenue. There are 2 variances here. One, the construction of a 4-unit project that will result in a lot density of 4,846 square feet per unit, where 7,260 square feet per unit is required. And 2, to permit 3 parking spaces to be located within a required setback, 2 to be 5 feet from the eastern property line, and 1 15.5 feet from the south property line. Okay. The planning board reviewed this actually and twice have made a negative declaration, so we have no environmental issues that we have to deal with. Any problem? Anybody have any problems with this? I think this is.
No, I don't think anything has really changed the first approval, so I don't think that needs to be disturbed, and I don't really see any major impact from the parking requests. So,
Okay, any? Okay. Okay,
Mr. Chair, since there was a prior decision on the density, we can use the findings for that.
okay,
And then if you would care to do findings for the parking,
okay.
because I don't believe that was just the subject of a ZBA decision before.
Yeah, okay, so on the parking issue, okay, let's see. Okay, the board finds that there will be no undesirable change produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to the nearby properties created by the zoning variances. As was pointed out in the public hearing, the property is adjacent to a commercial business and a three-family residence that has a parking area actually right adjacent to the applicants. And it's very near a mobile home complex. So the creation of parking areas close to the property boundaries will not have an impact. The board further notes that the new parking areas will be screened from the neighbors by fences and vegetation. The board further finds that the benefits sought by the applicant really cannot be achieved by any other method. There are certain parking requirements that are needed for a four-unit apartment building. The size of the actual variance are not substantial. In one case, it's a matter of half a foot. And the proposed variance, the parking variance, will have no adverse impact on the environment. And finally, the board does find that this is self-created in the sense that this is a new development that's going in. But that doesn't preclude the granting of this variance. So move.
Second.
All in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Recusals? Okay. Paul, do you want to do the motion on this?
Sure. I move that the board approve the request for an area variance, the area variances set forth in item number 2. Decisions based upon a review of the application and testimony of the applicant. Testimony offered in the public hearing, results of site board visits by board members. In approving this variance, the board adopts the findings relating to the density which had previously been found and as to the parking by the chairman's findings. So moved.
Second.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Recusals? Okay, item number 2 is approved, 7-0. Item 3, Mary Vallow, 18 Meadow Drive. This is a variance to allow the installation of a prefabricated storage shed, dimensions 12 by 24, and which will be located 5.7 feet from the side of the lot line where 20 feet is required. This is a type 2 action, so there's no environmental determination that we need to make. I think this one is just straightforward. So if there's no further comment, let me move as findings. One, that the variance will have no substantial impact on the or undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood. The board notes that a number of the houses were built and have been there since the 1960s. They're on relatively small lots, and many of the houses in the neighborhood have had additions, garages, sheds, and so on installed. The board finds that the requested variance is not substantial. We note that the new shed will be exactly the same distance from the lot line as the old garage that it replaces. The board further notes that the new shed will be somewhat screened by an existing stockade fence. The board finds that the benefit sought by the applicant would be very difficult to achieve in any other way. It would involve perhaps locating behind the house, extending the driveway, and since the proposal is not substantial, it would be a hardship to locate the shed somewhere else. The proposed variance will not have an adverse effect on the environment. And finally, the difficulty is self-created in the sense that they wish to replace the existing structure, but this doesn't preclude the granting of the variance. So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Yes, Art, I guess it's your turn.
Number 3, right?
Yeah.
I move that the board approve the request for an area variance set forth in item number 3. This decision is based on a review of the application, testimony of the applicant, testimony offered in the public hearing, and results of site visits by board members. In approving the variance, the board adopts its findings, the findings as set forth by the chair. No amendments to this one. So moved.
Second.
Okay. Motion to approve item number 3 has been made and seconded. If there's no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Recusals? Item 3 is approved 7-0. Item 4, Ready Coffee at 1810, 1816-1840 South Road. This is a variance to allow a refuse enclosure to be located 26.3 feet from the side lot line where 100 feet is required. And again, this is a type 2 action. Any discussion, comments? Otherwise, it's pretty routine. Okay, I move his findings as.
Do you just want to take the findings for the original one and say this is just a de minimis alteration?
Can we do that? Sure. Okay, so I move that as findings, we adopt the findings previously adopted with the added comment that the change is the result of a survey error which resulted in the garbage enclosure being located slightly closer to the lot line than originally planned. And we further note that the side yard distance is in fact a distance to an internal lot line and so makes no physical or visible difference on the site.
Second.
Okay. All right. So I move that the board approve the request for an area variance set out in item number 4. This decision is based on a review of the application, testimony of the applicant, testimony offered in the public hearing, and the results of site visits by board members. In approving this variance, the board adopts the findings as set forth by the chair, and there are no conditions. So move.
Second.
Second.
Okay.
Vote on the findings or? No? Okay.
Okay. All right. Item number 4, approval has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Approved 7-0. Item number 5, Elizabeth and John McCabe, 10 Oak Bend Road. This is a variance to allow the replacement of an existing 6-foot fence in the front yard with a fence of the same height. And again, this is a type 2 action, so there's no environmental review. I think, is everybody okay with this?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I will suggest as findings the following. This variance will not produce an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties. The board notes that the property in question is located at the end of a cul-de-sac, and that the proposed fence is replacing an existing fence, and the new fence will in fact be shorter than the existing fence because of the lattice work that's at the top of the current fence. So that actually the impact on the neighborhood will be reduced as a result of this action. Whether the benefits sought by the applicant can be achieved by some other method, the board finds that the main purpose of the fence is to protect an existing garden from deer, and that given the size of the garden and the location of the property, a 6-foot fence really is necessary. Whether the area variance is substantial, it's substantial in the sense that a 6-foot fence is a lot larger than a 3.5-foot fence in a front yard. The size of the variance is mitigated considerably by the fact that it's going to be replace an existing fence, and it's also in an area that is quite screened by some mature trees and other vegetation, so that the impact will be small. Whether the variance will have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions, the board finds that it will not, and since we didn't get any testimony from any deer, we won't worry about that. And finally, whether the alleged difficulty is self-created, it is self-created in the sense they want to replace the fence. But this doesn't preclude the granting of the variance. Okay. Any additions or comments on those findings?
No.
Okay. Tony.
Okay. So number 5, I move that the board approve the request for an area variance set forth in item number 5. This decision is based on a review of the application, testimony of the applicant, testimony offered in a public hearing, and results of site visits by board members. In approving this variance, the board adopts the findings as set forth by the chair.
Second.
Okay. There are no further comments. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Recusals? Approved. Item 5 is approved 7-0. Item number 6, Benito Garcia, 34 Phyllis Road. This is a variance to allow the replacement of a front deck to be located 13.4 feet from the side lot line where 20 feet is required, and this is a type 2 action. Okay, any comments? All right, in that case, let me suggest as findings the following. The board finds that the proposed action will not have any undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties. The board notes that the house was built in the 1950s on a narrow lot. Most of the other houses in the neighborhood have additions, decks, porches, garages, and so forth. The board further finds that the house in question is 13 feet 6 inches from the lot line. In other words, the proposed front deck will be no closer to the lot line than the existing house. The board finds that the benefit sought by the applicant can only be achieved by building a front deck, and unless the house is already closer to the property line than the current code, so the deck doesn't change anything. Whether the requested area variance is substantial, the board finds that given the current location of the house, the addition of a relatively narrow deck will not be substantial. And the proposed deck will have no adverse impact on the physical or environmental conditions of the neighborhood. And finally, the board finds that the difficulty is self-created because they have decided to add this deck, but this doesn't preclude the granting of the variance. Okay, James, would you like to make the motion?
Sure. I move that the board approve the request for an area variance set forth in item number 6. This decision is based on a review of the application, testimony of the applicant, testimony offered in public hearing, and results of site visits by board members. In approving this variance, the board adopts the findings as set forth by the chair. So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion to approve item number 6 has been made and seconded. There's no further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, approved 7-0. All right, item 7, Brian Ricks, 25 Horizon Hill Drive. This is a variance to allow the construction of a deck located 17 feet from the side lot line where 20 feet is required. This again is a type 2 action. Any comments? Again, this is pretty straightforward. Okay, let me suggest as findings, the board finds that that no undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood nor a detriment to nearby properties. The board notes that the replacement deck will be on the same footprint as the existing deck, so there will be it will be no closer to the neighbors. The board also notes that the neighbors have written that they have no objection to this replacement of the deck. The board further notes that the properties in this neighborhood tend to be long and relatively narrow, so it's difficult to put any new decks or pools or whatever without a variance. The board finds that the benefit sought by the applicant cannot be achieved in any other method. The existing deck needs to be replaced, so it has to be in the same location. The board finds that the requested variance is not substantial. It's a matter of 3 feet. And the board further notes that the existing pool and deck are screened from the neighboring properties by existing vegetation. The board finds that there will be no adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions since it's simply replacing something that's already there. And finally, the board finds that the difficulty is self-created, but this does not preclude granting the variance. Okay, if there are no additions or changes, comments to the findings, I guess, we're to James?
No.
No, Phyllis.
It's my turn.
It's your turn.
I move that the board approve the request for an area variance set forth in item number 7. This decision is based on a review of the application, testimony of the applicant, testimony offered in the public hearing, and the results of site visits by board members. In approving this variance, the board adopts the finding as set forth by the chair. So move.
Okay, if there are no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, item 7 is approved, 7-0. Item number 8, Troy and Corinne Campbell, 1021 Dutchess Turnpike. This is a variance to allow the replacement of an existing 6-foot fence in one of their front yards with a new 6-foot fence. And again, this is a type 2 action. Okay, anybody have concerns about this? Guess not. Let me suggest his findings. The board finds that the proposed action will have no undesirable change, make no undesirable change in the neighborhood or be a detriment to nearby properties. The board notes that this is a replacement of an existing fence, and the board further notes that because this is a corner lot, the applicants have 2 front yards, and the fence in question is going to be located far to the rear of the actual front of the house. So this in the eyes of the board is not a substantial variant in terms of its impact, because it's located so far from the actual front of the house. The board further notes that it's replacing an existing fence in exactly the same location. As a result, the benefit sought by the applicant cannot be achieved by any other means. The purpose of the fence is to provide some privacy from the relatively heavy traffic on Hornbeck Road. The proposed variance will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions, since it's an existing structure. And the board finds that the difficulty is self-created, but that doesn't preclude the granting of the variance. Any comments, additions? Okay, I guess we're back to you, Christine.
Okay. I move that the board approve the request for an area variance set forth in item number 8. This decision is based on a review of the application, testimony of the applicant, testimony offered in the public hearing, and results of site visits by board members. In approving this variance, the board adopts the findings as set forth by the chair. So move.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, item number 8 is approved, 7-0. Item number 9, Barbara and Patrick Adams, 49 Overlook Road. This is a variant to allow the installation of a shed in the front yard. It's a type 2 action. And again, I think there's no problem here. Okay. So let me suggest his findings. The board finds that there will not be an undesirable change produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties. We note that this is a flag lot with a very large front yard. Actually, the house is located way in the rear of the property, so there are really very small side and rear yards. The proposed site of the shed will be almost 400 feet from Overlook Road, and as the applicant stated and as the board determined during its site visit, it will not be visible from the road. Furthermore, it's heavily screened from neighbors by existing mature trees. 2, the board finds that it might be possible for the applicant to achieve the benefit by locating the shed to the rear or the side of the house, but the benefit is to store equipment that's going to be used for taking care of the lawn, clearing the driveway in the winter, and that requires that the shed be located on or near the existing drive, which this proposal is. Because of the minimal impact on any other property, the board finds that the requested variance is not substantial. And for the installation of the shed will have no inverse impact on the environment. And finally, the board finds that the alleged difficulty is self-created, but that doesn't preclude approving the variance. Any additions, suggestions? Okay. Paul?
Sure. I move the board approve the request for an area variance set forth in item number 9. Decisions based upon a review of the application, testimony of the applicant, testimony offered in the public hearing, and results of site visits by board members. In approving the variance, the board adopts the findings that's set forth by the chair.
Second.
Okay, there's no further discussion. All in favor of item number 9?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Recusals? Item 9 is approved 7-0. Okay, that brings us to the end of the agenda. We have 5 items that have been adjourned to the next meeting, so we may or may not be receiving additional materials on that. Otherwise, if there's no...
Mr. Chair, can we talk about the August meeting date?
Yes, thank you for reminding me. Okay. The date of our meeting in August on the town calendar is scheduled to be August 12th, Monday, August 12th. And Lisa, you have a...
I'll be in Maine.
You have a problem with that? Okay. So the question before us, would it be possible to move the meeting either to Monday the 5th or back to Monday, August 19th? My preference would be August 19th in the sense that moving it up might make it difficult for some applicants to meet the filing deadlines, but...
With that in mind, wouldn't that cut down July applicants? And I think if you look at the dates of July, if you look at the spread between our July 8th meeting and August 5th, that's, you said you'd rather move it to the 19th. I think if we move it up to the 5th, unless anybody else has vacation or issues, it gives the September applicants a reasonable amount of time to make their applications. The other way, I think it only gives them about 2.5 weeks. So, but the spread between July 8th and August, about 4 weeks, and then you have about another 4.5 weeks.
I got you. Yep, fine with me. Okay, anybody have any, is there anybody for whom this is just impossible? Okay, then I guess August 5th?
Okay.
Okay, all right.
Thank you all.
So,
back something?
Yeah, I move that the ZBA hereby changes the date of its August meeting from August 12th to August 5th.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so we're on for August 5th. And we'll just, with the field trips, we'll just move forward a week.
Sure.
Okay. Okay. All right, so, and that's going to work for you, Lisa?
Yes, thank you.
I suppose I should have added a condition about lobsters or something.
I can.
I guess it's too late.
That's why I asked. I said, you're going to bring us back something?
Well, enjoy.
Thank you.
Okay, so is there anything else that we need to deal with? Okay, if not, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, stand adjourned.
Let's stay long.